Okay, today we are looking at the collection of 19 figures from the 2001 Lord of the Rings Burger King toy line. Now, Happy Meal toys aren't really something I majorly collect. I've got a few, I've kept a few since childhood, but the Lord of the Rings wave is something I've kind of been picking up here and there if I ever come across any of the figures like in packaging from somebody who's selling them, if I'm buying like something else or see them in like a flea market stall. I've been trying to complete the set, and recently I have, so I decided might as well do an unboxing video of them. Some of these figures are supposed to light up, some of them are supposed to talk. I have no idea how well any of them are going to work. These figures are almost 25 years old now, so I'm looking forward to see what may or may not still have the power of the ring. And here we have the Burger King Lord of the Rings collection from 2001. It's made up of 19 pieces, 11 which light up, 5 that speak, and 2 that speak and light up, as well as the one ring in the center. Now, these probably worked when they first came out over 20 years ago, but as you saw in the video, several of these do not. I was unfortunately left with only 6 out of the 19 working, and I was a little disappointed about that. But while digging around for some more information about these series of figures, I did see a Reddit post where somebody said the batteries on these figures were changeable. And that is kind of true. The figures with the feature built into them, which is mostly ones that light up, are, I wouldn't say changeable. You'd risk having to break the figure open, probably damaging it, breaking it, chipping paint, any number of things that could go wrong with it to get to the battery inside. And overall, it's probably not worth the risk. However, the ones that do have their batteries in their bases, you have a little bit better luck and change the batteries. Okay, so I was able to change the batteries on all these ones and managed to get them working. So I'm going to show you how to do that with Frodo's. So him and Gandalf's batteries are a little different. They're a bigger set of batteries, the L1131s. Then everybody who's only got one effect, either an audio or a light, they take a smaller battery, an L736. Basically, I took the bottom off, and if you can see, hopefully this is in focus, the screws are a triangle shape head. But I was able to remove them with a smaller flathead screwdriver, just working at an angle. And then on the inside of this one, you'll see most of them look like this. This one has the voice chip right here, and then the light is on this chipboard underneath it. So you have to pop the chipboard out very carefully, so that way you don't break any of the wires. The batteries are clipped on like that, so you have to be careful and pop the clips off on the sides, and then you'll see the circuit board underneath. Flat end goes on the bigger one, and the shorter end goes on the smaller one once you change them out. Now, several of them were corroded. I wasn't able to get Galadriel or the cave troll working because the batteries and the mechanisms were so corroded, they weren't salvageable, unfortunately. Now that we've got those new batteries in Frodo's, put that back on. Sam, Galadriel, and Celeborn, I believe, have a different inside, which I'll show you now. Theirs is, instead of a circuit board with a button on it to activate the features like everybody else, is wires making the connection for their lights. These ones seem to be very susceptible to corrosion or bending. I got Celeborn to work, and Sam kind of works. His is very finicky though. I think the wires got bent when I took the batteries out. But Galadriel, every metal piece inside of hers was completely corroded. So hers was not repairable, but that is a different inside you may face when if you take them apart and try to replace your batteries. So after changing the batteries in some of them, I got 7 more that were working, which left me with a total of 13 out of 19 working, which is not bad. Now, The Fellowship of the Ring was the only movie from the Lord of the Rings trilogy that got any kind of Happy Meal tie-in. Along with these toys, they also featured 4 light-up goblets that had Arwen, Strider, Frodo, and Gandalf available. I've got those around someplace as well. I'm sure the light-up feature works probably about as well as these, but maybe they've lasted a little bit better. Now, I was only 11 when these came out at Burger King, and I didn't ever make an attempt at the time to collect all of them. So I don't really know how hard they were to collect other than just from people speaking online. And it seemed like they were a little difficult because some Burger Kings would sell them separately from the meals. You wouldn't even have to eat all the meals. Some wouldn't get all of them. And they were even different collections in different locations around the world. Some had lesser figures, some had more figures, and then there were also some variants of a few of these. Bilbo's got two variants. There's one version of him with longer hair, and then another version of him with shorter hair and a receding hairline, which is the one I think I got. Boromir's got three versions of him. There's a version with a shorter tunic that shows off his boots, and then the two other versions that have the longer cloak that just shows his toes, which is the one I got. One with silver elbow pads and silver buckles, and another one with gold elbow pads and gold buckles, which is the one I ended up with. The Cave Troll's got a couple versions as well, one with a thinner face and a thinner loincloth. I think I've got the different version where he's got a wider face and wider loincloth. Celeborn's got two versions, one with a silver inner cloak, which I got, and one with a lighter green inner cloak. And last but not least, Merry's also got three versions of him as well. One with blonde hair and a green jacket, one with brown hair and a green jacket, and another with blonde hair and a tan jacket. So trying to get a hold of all those variants at the time was probably pretty difficult. Now the challenge 20 plus years later is trying to find versions of all these that work. As you saw in the video, most of these still even had the little tabs underneath the rings of power in the front to stop them from making noises. But you know, time, moisture, heat, whatever, corrodes batteries eventually, and that was the main problem with these. So since this was something I was really pursuing to get a whole collection of, I decided to go and spend the time and the effort to try changing the batteries, and it's kind of up to you whether you want to go through all that hassle as well. Now, as for the set itself, with the cheapness and the scale of what Happy Meal toys are, the paint apps and the sculpts are mid to okay. Some of the faces are better than others, some of them are really bad, and although I do like the idea of turning the ring to activate all the features as it spins around, it doesn't work as smoothly as I thought it would. It still works well enough, and I think for anybody who's out there chasing them or has thought about trying to get all these, once you get them in this circle, it is pretty rewarding and feels like it was well worth the effort to get these all together in one place. They also aren't terribly expensive on the aftermarket through eBay or flea market stalls, wherever you might come across them. I don't think you'll be hard-pressed to spend more than $5 to $10 each. So it's not going to break your wallet too much if you decide to go after all these. So that's it for this unboxing video. Here's your hint at the next build video. Leave your guess in the comments what you think it is below. Until then, stay safe, happy hunting.